C. Thomas, founder of Brown Girl Collective and the BGC Book Club. It is indeed a pleasure to be here this evening, and I'm just going to wait a few moments for some folks to come on in the room. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for an outstanding conversation. I know it's going to be an outstanding conversation with a wonderful author, and I'm going to call new friend as well. So this is going to be great as we talk about this wonderful book, Dear Black Girl by Tamara Winfrey-Harris. So come on in the room, and if you get a chance, drop in the comments where you are joining us from, just so we can know who all is here and be able to shout you out or acknowledge your presence. Hope everyone is doing well this evening as you come on in and join us tonight. All right, looks like we've got a few folks in the room, so we are not going to belabor because there's so much. This is going to be a hot night tonight, so we want to get right to it and not take up too much of your time. So once again, tonight's special guest is the Tamara Winfrey-Harris, who is a well-known author and just recently put out this book, Dear Black Girl. Just to let you know, Tamara Winfrey-Harris is a writer who specializes in the ever-evolving space between where current events, politics, and pop culture intersect with race and gender. She says, I want to tell the stories of Black women and girls and deliver the truth to all those folks who got us twisted, tangled up in racist and sexist lies. I want my writing to advocate for my sisters. We are better than all right. We're amazing. Tamara's first book, The Sisters Are All Right, Changing the Broken Narrative of Black Women in America, was published by Barrett Kohler Publishers in 2015 and called A Myth-Busting Portrait of Black Women in America by the Washington Post. That book won the Phyllis Wheatley Award, Indie Fab Award, Independent Publishers Living Now Award, and the IPPY Award. Her sophomore effort, which we'll be talking about tonight, is Dear Black Girl, Letters from Your Sister on Stepping Into Your Power, is well, it says forthcoming because this was written a little while ago, but it's here and it's ready to be read and adored. So it is available to you in all of your favorite bookstores now. Tamara also has essays that have appeared in the Lemonade Reader, The Burden, African Americans and the Enduring Impact of Slavery, Black in the Middle, and other books. She is the co-founder of Centering Sisters LLC, an organization that unapologetically addresses the needs and issues of Black women, girls, and femmes. If that isn't enough, just last year she completed her yoga teacher training and certified RYT 200 through the Yoga Alliance. She says that yoga is not exercise, it's healing and liberation and beauty. Tamara is a native of Gary, Indiana, and a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She graduated with a BA degree from the Greenlee School of Journalism at Iowa State University. So without any further delay, here she is, Tamara Winfrey-Harris.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. I've been looking forward to this since we put it on the calendar months ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am so glad, as I wrote on my personal social media page the other day, I'm so glad to finally, quote unquote, meet you, even though we've known of each other for a while. And I'm actually blessed to have a letter in this book, which we'll be sharing a little bit later on. So please, Tamara, there's so much to say about you and the work that you do. So just give us a little background into how you got into sharing our stories as Black women in general, and more specifically, what prompted you to write Dear Black Girl.
So thank you for having me, first of all. As long as I've been writing in earnest, I have focused on race and gender and kind of how they intersect for a lot of things. But about 7-8 years ago, and you may remember this, it seemed like the conversation around Black women was just relentlessly negative. I mean, we know how often we get hit with negative stereotypes, but about 7 or so years ago, it revolved around this idea of marriage, and the fact that
Right.
Black women are half as likely to get married as white women, and that whole discussion was about what's wrong with Black women, that they're not marriageable. And on top of that, it seemed like all the headlines was they're too poor, they're too sick, they're too fat, they're too loose, they got too many children. You would think that it wasn't wonderful to be us. And, despite all the things we face, I think it is awesome to be us. Right. And so, when I wrote my first book, I wanted to interview Black women to kind of put the lie to some of that and talk about the nuances of our lives. And then, so the idea for this book kind of came in 2 stages. One, when I was touring around with the Sisters Are All Right, I noticed that sometimes when I was in groups of women, Black women, they would reject those stereotypes, Mammy, Jezebel, Sapphire. They would reject them for us. But then when they started talking about girls and younger women, some of that stuff would start creeping back in. And so I was doing a workshop with our dear friends, Dr. Carolyn Strong and Dr. Tiffany Monfort-Dent. And it was going to be an intergenerational workshop that helped Black women and Black girls better communicate and work together. And I thought it would be great if the 12 girls that were participating got some letters from Black women. And so I kind of offhandedly went on Facebook and asked for them, and Black women showed up in an amazing, amazing way. I got more than 50 from around the world, and they just kept coming. And, I read the first one and knew, like, this can't be the end of this. And the easiest way to get books and to get letters in as many girls' hands as possible, I thought would be to put them in a book.
Brilliant idea. Because I've seen other, programs that may say, writing a letter to your younger self. And in a way, this kind of is that as well.
Yeah.
But to take it a step further and also be able to share those with young girls, that's really outstanding, because the world that we live in, it definitely does not always celebrate us, it does not always honor us. And I would agree that sometimes the older generation, people our age, older, some a little younger, once you get past a certain age and stage, sometimes people forget about the things that they may have experienced or gone through, and they don't know how to communicate knowledge and wisdom and understanding and grace for the younger generation. So I think
there are a lot of that you decided. There are a lot of things that young girls get into that it's kind of like they're for the grace of God, just go by,
Absolutely. So of course we know you, and I call you the Tamara Winfrey-Harris because that's what our friends like to call you. So we know that, of course, you yourself are an excellent writer. You, as I mentioned, only a portion of the things that you've done with your writing. In getting the book together, how did you kind of figure out who was going to be involved, or it was just, I know I don't know exactly how many letters are in the book, but I'm sure you got more. What was kind of the process of deciding who was going to be a part of it?
So I first looked at all the letters I had already received, and a lot of them were centered around advice or inspiration. And I didn't want the entire book to be that. I also wanted to touch on some specific issues. So I knew I would have to proactively reach out to women for that. And I knew that, I wanted girls to see themselves in the book in all the ways that they show up. So I would also have to be proactive about, making sure that there was a trans woman that, included a letter, and, making sure that there were women who were executives and women who were biracial, and, making sure, so I had a good diversity of letter writers. So I started with what I had and then started reaching out to people proactively. And then, occasionally someone would say, you got to get such and such to write a letter. And I would reach out.
Hmm. Well, and I would definitely say that it's as I was reading, and I also listened to the audio. So for those of you who may not do, everybody doesn't pick up and read.
Yeah.
And so audio is great. And I'm gonna be honest, the audio is something that I will probably go back to many times, just because hearing those messages and taking a lot of the things in is just very powerful, to be able to do it in that way and to have those things, to listen and hear the words. As I mentioned, I have a letter in the book, and when I heard my own letter, I was like, wow, hey. So that's powerful as well. We do have a couple of comments here right quick on the share. Nita is saying, my mother and my daughter are both alive, and they have no idea how much they continue to influence me on a daily basis. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Someone else is saying, let me see. She tries to tell them, but it's still hard for them to believe. Okay, absolutely, absolutely, and that is very important, just to be able to. And we'll talk more about this a little later on, about having those conversations, and how the different generations can come together and continue to have these conversations. So one of the things, as you mentioned in the book, it touches upon a lot of different topics and subject matters. But one of the things that I like, that you start the book out by basically giving us a history of how we got to where we are as Black women, in this, primarily American Black women, and how things have happened and transpired to get us to this place. So could you share a little bit about kind of the history of how we got to where we are now?
So as you might imagine, except for those people who always say, slavery was a long time ago and can we forget it? We can't forget it, because it continues to impact our lives. And so, a lot of the core stereotypes that you hear about Black women and Black girls, because they start to affect us very early, came from times when our foremothers were enslaved. Because otherwise, how can you justify enslaving someone and working them hard and separating them from their families and all of those things that happened, if you don't portray them as somehow less than human? So, there was this idea that Black women and girls were harder and more durable and more aggressive and more masculine, because of course at the time, white women were thought to be like delicate and in need of protection and fainting couches and things. And so Black women had to be set aside as something different, or else how could you enslave them, right? And then there was the idea that, Black women and girls were hypersexual, and, unrapeable, because they were sexually voracious. Because otherwise, how can you have them stand naked on an auction block? How can you breed them to make new human property? And then there's the idea of the mammy, which is, a Black woman in service who is there not for her own needs, but in service of other people. And so from that, you get the idea of what people think Black women should be. So forever sacrificing, giving up everything for other people, and, having no desires and wants of her own, never being selfish, it's always an outpouring of effort. And so those follow us along. Like, we know there was a Georgetown study a few years ago that said Black girls between the ages of 5 and 12 were seen as more adult and more knowledgeable about grown-up things like sex. And so a lot of that comes from, that stereotyping, the mammy, the sapphire, the Jezebel, that we are something completely different from other girls and women. And that underpins so much that we go through. I'm being attacked by my cat.
No. Don't you have to?
I do kitties, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think it's important to share that, because some of those ideas or concepts, there's some people who may not even be aware of how that's just, unfortunately, it's historical. They may come up with different names to call it, but a lot of those ideas and concepts are historical. I mean, I can give you a real quick story. I happen to work with someone. Now, I know she won't be watching this, so I can say it. Black woman who, when I watch her behavior, it a lot of it fits into that, what we would consider the mammy type, because it's always, I want to please everybody, I want to help everybody, and I kind of look at her like, just because you're doing that doesn't mean that people are going to love you or respect you anymore. But this is just what she's done, and to her, she probably doesn't even realize that what she's doing, as a Black woman. So, yeah, I think it's important.
I don't know if you read Melissa Harris Perry's book, Sister Citizen, but I love how she describes it as being like a crooked room. Like like Black women, we're standing in this crooked room, and there are these stereotypes of us, and you don't really know how to bend. Like, do you bend away from it? Like, I'm not going to be this thing, or is that what you're supposed to be? Because a lot of people, even in our own community, say that's who Black women are supposed to be. Giving of themselves, always working for the church, always working for their families. Like, we sing odes and songs about grandmothers and mothers who were self-sacrificing and abused all their lives. So, it's hard for us to figure out where in that narrative we really are authentically,
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I really love about the book, and just the different letters and the different perspectives that you have from women, because basically everyone in the book at some point is telling you just to live your best life, be your best you. Yes, it may be tough, it may be rough, but it's okay to be who you are, whether it's straight, gay, trans, whatever the case may be, big, fat, skinny, whatever you are, whoever you are, however you show up in the world, it's okay to be that, and that you are still worthy and valuable and lovable and all these other things, just as you are. So I really appreciate that. Just share a little bit about the different topics that you do have people talk about in the book.
So, I have women we start off by talking about identity, and there's a lot in that bucket, right? So, women talk about sexuality, they talk about skin color, they talk about, being biracial, they talk in general just about Black girlness. But there are letters also about family, about, different kinds of family. Families that are connected by love, families that are connected by biology. There's a chapter on tough stuff. So, letters from women who have been incarcerated, women who have survived sexual assault, women who are young mothers or survived poverty. There's a chapter on like work and other passions. There's a chapter on mental health. There's a chapter of wonderful advice. So I tried chapter on sex. So I tried to cover like a variety of experiences, identities, because again, I wanted all kinds of girls to read this and go, yeah, I get this. This is what happens to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that was very good to be able to see the different topics, and also I will admit, as an adult reader, and I will say, even though it's called Dear Black Girl, it is definitely a good book for you grown women out there. Because a lot of times there are things going on with us that we may not even realize that they're going on with us, or there are things in parts of the letters that I could see myself, or things that I might still be struggling with or challenged with, and hearing that, hey, I'm not the only one. Someone else is doing this, and someone else has a different perspective or a different way of approaching this. So it's definitely powerful for us to read as adult women, especially since we didn't have something like this when we were coming up. And what many people probably don't realize, Brown Girl Collective kind of started years ago because of things that I felt that as a adult woman that I may not have gotten when I was younger, things that I didn't know or understand as I was coming up, that had I known these things, whether it's about women in history or whatever the case may be, that I may have made other decisions, may have made other choices, had that knowledge and awareness. So that was one of the reasons why I started that. And this book is, tapping into the same idea. So as well, Tamara knows, we do have some special guests that are going to join us here in a couple of moments. But yes, I'm going to go ahead and read my letter now. And my letter is actually about yes. My letter is about friendship. I'm going to go ahead and read that one. And then we have a couple of awesome special guests that are going to join us to share their letters as well. My letter is, and it's on page 72 and 73 if you get the book, when you get the book. So you know where to find me. My dearest young sister, I am deeply honored to have a few moments to spend with you during this stage of your life journey as you make the transition from girlhood to womanhood. As you continue to evolve into the person that you want to be, there are going to be countless relationships that you will experience along the way. And in my opinion, some of the most significant relationships that you have will be with other Black women. Despite what you may see on reality television or read on social media, Black women and girls are a lifeline for one another, more often than not. Here are a few examples from my own life. When I was in elementary school, I was truly an awkward Black girl. I was taller than everyone, including the boys. I wore glasses and I was much more bookish, still am, than athletic. With all of that going for me, I was teased daily. All of that ended when I met PD. In today's world, she would probably be considered a bully, but for me, she was a protector. Taller than everyone. I'm hearing a little feedback. Whenever someone would start to pick on me, she would step in to defend me with words or with actions. At a time when I lacked the confidence to speak up for myself, she became a powerful voice for me. I grew out of my awkwardness, at least a little bit, and no longer needed a bodyguard, but I found a lifelong friend in PD who still would go to bat for me if necessary. Sidebar, she called me right before I got on this call, so yes, we are still friends. In my 20s and 30s, most of my friendships developed out of a shared experience with other sisters in college, at work, at church, in social groups, etc. Out of all of the women that I called friend during those years, only a select few have managed to stand the test of time. The others were there for a season or a reason, yet I am still grateful for the part that each one of them played in my life. In the last few years, most of my new friendships have resulted from meeting like-minded women in virtual settings or interest-based meetup groups. A couple of those new friends have collaborated with me on writing and speaking ventures. Another friend introduced me to an organization that has provided me with additional friendships, leadership opportunities, and lots of adventure. Yet another sister friend has become both my sounding board and travel buddy. In all three cases, my associations with these women have expanded my horizons and enlarged my territory. Now, I must admit that not every relationship that I have had with another Black woman has been positive. I have repeated things that I shouldn't have. I have made promises that I couldn't keep. I have dated a friend's ex-boyfriend. I have ghosted people when things have got rough instead of taking the time to have honest conversations. I have had the same things done to me. I judged other women because of their looks. I have questioned another sister's intelligence or authority. I have expressed negativity about a woman's lifestyle choices. I have wondered, why her and not me? I have also been on the receiving end of all of the above. You will experience a lot of the same ups and downs in your own friendships, but I encourage you to hold space in your heart for healthy connections with other Black women. Even though we don't always get it right with one another, as the late poet Gwendolyn Brooks stated, we are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. In other words, there will be times in your life when your tribe of sister friends will be the lifeline that sustains you when the rest of the world has gone crazy, or the ones that rise with applause when you reach your goals, or the folks who speak the truth in love when you need sound counsel, or simply just the people that love you without conditions. I can't tell you when or how you will meet the women who will become a part of your tribe, but I can tell you this. In order to have the types of friends that you desire, you must be the type of friend that you desire. One who is loving, kind, honest, trustworthy, respectful, non-judgmental, supportive, fun-loving, and a good listener. Here's to a life filled with sisterly love. Your big sister, Marcy. And that's it. So that is my letter. I can't hear you all of a sudden. You muted. You're muted. You
Oh,
are
I was
muted.
trying to
Let
get
me.
rid of the feedback. What I loved about your letter is you did exactly what I hoped women would do, and you were vulnerable. You were willing to say, "Look, I did some of this stuff, and I got friendship wrong, but that's how I know, and that's how I can, that's how I can tell you." Which I think is a smarter and more loving way to approach Black girls than like this, which is what we often do,
Right, right. Exactly, exactly. So thank you for allowing me to share. Now, as I mentioned in my letter, there are two special ladies that I have met digitally. So get ready, y'all. Get ready. I am about to bring on the wonderful Dr. Tiffany Montfort Dent. Welcome. And Dr. Carolyn Strong. Welcome. Yeah, good to see you all. Carolyn, you are muted. So
I am no longer though.
Carolyn's was cutting up before she even got on here.
I am guilty of nothing.
And of so much all at the same time.
Well, I will just to give you a quick background, really quick. Brown Girl Collective has been around for about, oh gosh, it'll be 12 years this July. And, as life happens, there have been times when I haven't been as active and times when I've been more active. But earlier back in the day, I had a feature that I would do where I shared young girls. It was the little lady of the day. And during that time, both Dr. Carolyn, who's adjusting there, both Dr.
Okay, my
Carolyn
Afro so crooked and no one told me. I blame all of y'all.
Both Dr. Carolyn and Dr. Tiffany shared their daughters, who are grown, almost grown women now, or a lot older.
As of 3 minutes ago, your soror.
My soror, yes. Oh, yes.
As of 3 minutes ago.
Woo!
3 minutes ago.
Dr. Carolyn is my SG Rose soror, and her daughter just crossed over. So hallelujah, we got another one in the bunch. Sorry, we got an AKA and Tamara, a Delta and Tiffany, but it's all love.
I mean, they all right.
Yeah.
They all right.
It's all love at the end of the day. But both of these ladies shared their daughters, and I thought how great it was, the stories that they shared of their daughters, the pictures and everything, and I shared them on the Brown Girl Collective platform. But I realized that both of them were quite powerful women of their, on their own. So I'm like, wait a minute, they're pretty hot. I like what they're doing. I like what they're all about. So at the time, I had a blog talk radio show, and I don't even remember what the topic was. It was something about working with our daughters, supporting our daughters, whatever, or girls, whatever the case may be. And I invited the two of them both on as guests, and they connected, and now here we are. They are included in the book, and they also have their own show with the Tamara Winfrey-Harris. So this is like a full circle moment.
Well, I said like that shows you the power. Like it goes back to the letter you wrote, Marcy, and the chapter on friendship, because that shows you the power of the sister circle. Because I don't even remember. I was working on another book project. I don't remember what woman recommended that I talk to Tiffany. But I talked to Tiffany, and that's how I met her. And she said, you got to talk to Carolyn Strong. She's in Chicago. And as Tiffany does, because she's a connector, she was like, let me hook you up real quick. And then I went and had lunch with Carolyn, and the rest is history. And now here are the four of us.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm glad to have you ladies here. Now, I'm going to start with Carolyn, since she's my soror. Sorry. Carolyn.
Is that what we do? Is that how this works?
I know the two of you will not.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So, Dr. Carolyn Strong.
I had to put up with y'all in January.
Right. Yeah. So we're coming up in November, and next year is our centennial. So yeah, 2022. Just get ready. Ready. So, Dr. Carolyn, please tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do, and then if you would be so kind, share your letter with us.
Absolutely. For the record, the fact that there's a little thing here that says you're on the show, everyone can see and hear you, I feel like that's specifically for me. However, I digress. I am Carol. I am Carolyn Strong. I am an educator in the Chicagoland area. My area of expertise is bridging the discipline disparities as they relate to African American girls and providing them with both culturally sensitive and culturally relevant discipline and restorative discipline as well. My book, Black Girl Blues, is a book that's used as a lunch bunch kind of roundtable alternative to suspension. And it's a 12-week book of lessons that takes a historical approach to what it means to be an African-American girl to kind of help with some of these mitigating things that play into behavior. Because the goal is to not necessarily punish all the time, but kind of figure out what's going on so that we can truly try and mitigate and redirect some of these behaviors. Are we doing introductions, or am I reading my letter now? Or am I just...
You can read now. You can read your letter.
Okay. Dear brown-skinned Black girl, if no one else tells you this today, hear it from me. You and your dark chocolate shell are beautifully and wonderfully made. As a young girl growing up with chocolate skin and 4C hair, the tightest of kinks and curls, I didn't see anyone on television that looked like me. And if somehow a girl like me did manage to make it on the screen, she was usually being made fun of. That made me feel like I was not beautiful. And I have spent the last 35 years trying to turn that feeling around. I am going to do my best right now to tell you the things that I wish someone had told me back then. Read this as often as you need to be okay. They hate you because they ain't you. Look around, love. People who don't have what you have and don't look how you look are paying big bucks to get what the creator bestowed upon you for free. The next time you see a girl on IG tan, lip fillers, butt implants, and box braids, just remember yours is free and organic. We are slowly, ever so slowly, moving toward a world that sees the beauty in us. As I write this, Miss Universe, Miss America, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA are all beautiful, vibrant Black women of varying hues and hair textures. They are a visual representation of all the ways Black girls can be and are physically beautiful. In the meantime, know that the absence of dark-skinned girls in mainstream culture says more about the people making that culture than it does about you. As a girl, I remember thinking, what's wrong with me? I had a ton of answers, and each one made me feel worse than the one before it. I don't want that for you. Bump that. Your melanin, the thing that controls how brown you are. It is an asset. People may give you crap about it, and may not appreciate it now. But know this, honey. The saying black don't crack is real, and melanin is the best anti-aging cream you could ever ask for. Beautiful black girl, if you let it, this world will take your soul and try to convince you that you handed it over willingly. It is my job as a fellow black girl to stop that from happening. I start by telling you that you are beautiful. The creator makes no mistakes, but also that in your beauty lies an ability to do and be anything you want. And if nothing else, know that this chocolate girl loves you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I think I told you when even before I read the name and I was reading that letter, I just knew it was you. I said, that sounds like Dr. Carolyn Strong. So thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that. So
thank you.
All right. Someone said, I love to see Black female doctors. I want my daughter to become one. That's a comment from Charlotte. Absolutely. We are it's not letting me show it right now, but that's okay. Oh, there it is. Here it comes.
I love
Moving
my doctor friends. They make me look smart.
Absolutely. 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 I agree. We hang in smart company. Absolutely.
Right.
So, Dr. Tiffany, my darling, please share a little bit about yourself and be so kind to your letter as well.
Okay. My name is Dr. Tiffany Dent. I call myself a psychologist for the culture because I center Black folks in the work that I do. I am a national trainer on issues of racial justice, racial trauma, the role of social justice in mental health, and providing culturally informed services. I also provide treatment services to those who are involved with the juvenile justice system and child welfare, and do advocacy work around that link of social justice and mental health, because I believe we cannot continue to provide services to marginalized, oppressed communities and then send them back into the same systems and world that oppressed them in the first place. So that is who I am. And do you want me to read the letter? Okay. Is that next?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
All righty. Dear Black girl, you are facing a world that does not always value you, a world that expects you to be strong, a world that wants you to embrace your girlhood and innocence, but also take on adult responsibilities. People may expect you to just handle it if someone tries to steal your Black girl joy or uses your developing curves as a justification for assault. The crushing pressure, anger, and frustration that can be a part of Black girlhood can feel overwhelming. Black girl, you are allowed to feel overwhelmed and to expect that there will be others who will take away some of the burden. You are permitted to feel sad, frustrated, anxious, and to have those feelings acknowledged. If you hear that there's no space for your expression of feelings, no resources to provide you support, or that Black girls don't struggle, do not believe this. Your emotional wellness matters because you matter. Your feelings, they are real. Your trauma over things that have happened to you is real. Your worry about encountering racism or other poor treatment is real. Your anxiety or depression are real, even if you cannot quite figure out what causes them. Your anger that others call attitude is real. Your hopelessness when it feels your community does not value or see you, or that it values Black boys over you, is real. The first step in making your emotional health important is making it okay to say that you experience all these things. They are real. The unfairness in our society, especially the sexism and racism directed at Black girls, can cause and reinforce fear, loneliness, and self-doubt. I work with lots of girls like you, and I know that what some folks call attitude or being difficult is your expression of how hard it is to be you, Black and girl, in spaces that do not seem to care about either identity. Black girl, you do not have to be strong all the time. You do have to care about yourself all the time. As you grow and become a woman, find spaces and people who will help you navigate your journey in all its beauty, awkwardness, and pain. Demand spaces where you can be vulnerable and express without fear of getting in trouble or being ignored, your worries, your hopes, and your doubts. You do not, should not have to figure this out alone. There's no shame in seeing a therapist if you need to. We go to doctors to keep our bodies healthy. We can go to doctors to keep our minds healthy too. It is also important to have Black girl spaces where you can be honest and real with people who understand your experience best. Do not let anyone, even Black women, tell you that your problems are not important, that you should be stronger. Sadly, many of us received these bad messages when we were girls. We still receive them. We are just repeating what we know. When you have people who support you without judgment, when you have circles of support of Black girls and women, when you have therapy to heal your mind, hopefully you will come to know that you deserve joy. Not simple happiness, but joy. Joy is having access to people, places, and activities that speak to your soul, soothe your spirit, bring you hope, and make your heart soar. It is not enough for Black girls like us to just know about our pain or to speak on it. We must also allow ourselves the time and resources to move toward good emotional health. We have to have space to heal. People may not offer us the space willingly, but Black girl, know you are worthy of it. As you move into womanhood, take your space. Go in joy.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. Yes. I'm taking you off of mute, Miss Carolyn, Miss Dr. Carolyn. So
That's the
that was one of the areas I knew that I needed to have a chapter on mental health, because I know that's an area that's so often ignored for Black girls. And I also knew, while I let other people like choose what they were going to write about, I was like, Tiffany, I mean, you can write 2 letters if you want to, but let me tell you what you need to write about.
one of these letters needs to be about the mental mind.
You know what one's going to be?
Knock yourself out on that.
And that's just so important. That is so important, because even as an adult woman, it's important to know that we can take care of our mental health. It's important to go get someone who can talk to, who can understand you and give you tips and tools and things just to help you navigate this world that we live in, that we know still is not kind to Black girls, is not kind to Black women. I mean, we've seen some instances just in the last couple of weeks of the world not being kind to Black women and girls. So, it's just something that the more that we know, the more that we can have these relationships, the more that we can go and get the help that we need, the more that we can look in the mirror and know that we're all that. Some of those things help us to kind of get past or move beyond all of the things that the world is throwing at us on a regular basis.
I mean, we just came up on 30 years, I believe it was 2 days ago, of Latasha. So, that was, I think March 16th was 30 years ago that she was shot in the convenience store because it was believed that she was about to steal a juice. And then yesterday, as a Chicagoan, there was a press conference because a 6-year-old Black girl was being human trafficked, and the police knew, and nobody arrested the people doing it. And I found it interesting that the mayor actually said the biggest issue that the reason that the police allowed this to occur was because of the persistent and prevalent adultification of Black girls.
So I didn't hear about that particular story.
I was also going to say that the mental health chapter, one thing I appreciate, Patrice Grell-Yursik, some people might know as Afrobella, wrote about a time in her youth where she was struggling. And it's good for girls to know that, when we do talk about mental health, we very often talk about depression or anxiety, but it's also okay to get help if you're just going through a difficult time. I mean, she says in the letter, her parents were having trouble, and she saw that and felt insecure, and so she needed someone to talk to, and that's okay too.
And that's why I love this letter, because she says it's okay to be overwhelmed. And Black women have often, or far too often, fall into this trap of needing to be granted permission to be human. And I'm sure that has to do with the fact that we've never really been viewed as such. And just saying, overwhelm happens, and it's just not for suburban soccer moms. Like, anybody can be overwhelmed, and it's all right. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean you need to spend more time in church. It doesn't mean anything other than the fact that you are a human being with a breaking point, and don't have to reach it to stop.
And I think that's what I love about this book overall, is the book is, as you guys were talking before we came on, and Marcy, when you read your letter, it is we make mistakes. We have growing pains. There are this overarching theme within the book about vulnerability and lived experiences of former Black girls, and that the lessons that we've learned from them, and the things that we want you to have some vicarious experiences. I don't want you to go through the things that I've gone through. I want you to be better and have better experiences than me. And I think that's what I got from your letter, Marcy, from Carolyn's letter, from all the letters in the chapters in the book, where these are these themes. And in all of these themes, these are the places where we struggle, and we don't want you to have to struggle as much as we did, but we also want you to know struggle is normal. So when you're experiencing those struggles as a Black girl, when you're sitting here and saying, I'm doubting my friendships and I made some mistakes in my friendships, when I fell into this message of colorism and I had to reset that and understand how beautiful and amazing that I am, I want you to know, even if you fall into some of these, I'm encouraging, and there's another side to this. And so I think that's what I really love about this book, is those two pieces. We struggle. We are not perfect. If you're not perfect, it's okay. This is how you can learn the lessons I had, so you can reset or not experience it to the depths that I did.
And it's a retraining on our part, because we are real good for saying it was good enough for me and I'm fine. And it's like, no, you're not.
That's exactly what I was about to say, Carol. And there's a side of it, I think, too, that tells Black women, because we want to present a perfect face, because we know that we don't get a lot of grace. We know that we're judged more than other people do. We know all of that stuff. So we don't go out there and show an imperfect face, because we know what could happen. And we get so used to not showing that imperfect face that we can't show it with our daughters and our nieces and our friends. But then that isn't good for our relationships with other women, and it's not good for our relationships with younger women and girls,
for ourselves,
right?
Absolutely. That authenticity means a lot. You kind of gave me a good segue, Tamara, because I know that the good doctors assisted you, and I'm putting together a resource that can help the older generation to work with the younger generation. Could you all share about that? This is something in addition to the book itself. It's a resource to help you have those conversations.
So another example, girls who may be watching, on why you should have smart doctor friends. They're very useful. There is a free reader experience kit that you can download at my website, TamaraWinfrey-Harris.com. And it has some additional questions. So if you want to be in conversation with, your daughter or your niece or your book club, or, another girl or young woman, these are questions that can help you dig deeper into the issues that are raised by the letters. There are also some tips provided by an educator and psychologist on how to have good I won't name them, good intergenerational conversation. Because, that can be a little fraught. I mean, they're different, especially with a mother and a daughter. There are different power dynamics. There are also some super cute paper dolls and a really dope playlist created by 17-year-old Peyton Thomas.
No relation to me.
No relation to you, but relation to Disha Philia. It's her daughter.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. But see, I'm Thomas too, so I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
All right. So that's awesome. So I'm glad that the good doctors, I'm gonna start calling you all that all the time, so get used to it. I'm glad that they were able to, share those resources and allow the conversation to expand, because one thing, and I know this book may be considered self-help in some circles, because, well, one thing we didn't really talk about, in addition to the letters that are shared, there is a space for the girls who have read the book, or the women who read the book, to kind of write their own letters. So it's great to do that and do that on your own and to work through that process. But it is also good to have some of these conversations and expand it beyond just an individual, but more of a collective process of us all getting better and healing. So we have a comment. The word self from Paula says the word self-care, feeling worthy, learning how to love oneself are so important. Thank you for sharing your letters and conversation. No, you're welcome, Paula. We're glad to be here. Make sure you get a copy of the book, because this is just a sample of what's in it. There's so much richness within the book. And yes, thank you. And yeah, I got mine too. Please get a copy, and as I mentioned earlier on, if you can grab the audio or snag the audio. Yep, there we go. Oh, yep. So if you get the audio, because I listened to the audio as well as reading it, and it was just good to hear the letters, and it's a way that you can kind of reinforce some of the ideas and listening. Something about hearing a thing. You can read it, but it's something about hearing someone speak positive words and speak love and speak life to you about that. So
auditory learners need love too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dr. Carolyn, Dr. Tiffany, thank you so much for joining us. I did end up telling Tamara, like, right when we came on. She didn't know till tonight, so it was just a little bit of a surprise. So I'm going to let you all know. Oh, well, before we go, tell both of you, tell folks how they can keep in touch with you and the things that you've got going. I'll let you go first, Dr. Tiffany.
You can find me, all of my social media handles are at Dr. Tiffany. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you can find me there, and also at Centering Sisters to find us as a group.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Centering Sisters to find us as a collective. We're fun. And I am not that concise. If you are looking for me on Twitter, I am Black Girl Blues on Twitter, but on Facebook, you can find me at Strong Conversations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this strong conversation. See how I did that? Thank you, ladies. And we will chat again soon. Love you.
I'm going to see my baby now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, SG Girl in the house. Bye-bye. All right. Let's see. So we are back to you and me. You and I. So, Tamara, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us tonight. Before we finish out our conversation about Dear Black Girl, I would love for you to share how the book ends, because I think that's very powerful. And as you said, it's resonating with a lot of people as it did with me.
I would love to. And I also want to say to folks before we close out that if you have the book, and I hope you do, and if you like it, to please leave a review and a rating on Amazon and Goodreads. Those are very, very helpful to authors, and it helps the book get seen by more people who might like it. So,
yeah.
Epilogue is called Pick Up Your Oyster Knife. So if you're a lover of Zora Neale Hurston, you probably recognize that reference. I love you, Black girl. I love Black girls in Afro puffs and Black girls in bundles of Remy. I love the daddy's girls and the fatherless ones. I love the little sisters who make straight A's and the ones who skip school. I love the hood girls and the suburban girls and the country girls too. I love the quiet girls and the loud girls, the lip smacking, smart talking ones. I love the saved girls and the heathen ones. I love the girls who stay in sweatshirts and J's and the ones in the tight Fashion Nova fits. I love the happy girls and the anxious girls and the girls battling depression. I love the trans girls living defiantly. I love the girls in the library and the ones on the basketball court. I love the virgins and the young mamas. I love the girly girls and the butch girls. I love the girls who fight. I love the girls who love boys and the girls who love girls and the girls who love both or neither. I love you, Black girl, unconditionally, and whether you are 15 or 50. You hear me? Today, I love you whether you look or act like they say you should. You are not wrong. When you are wrong, I love you with all your flaws, no matter what choices and mistakes you have made, no matter where you live, no matter what you look like, no matter what thing has happened to you. And the greatest thing you can learn is to love yourself unconditionally too. Maybe the hardest thing you have to learn. And I hope the letters in this book have shown you how. One other thing, Black girl, you must learn to love other Black women and girls the same way. Love us whether we look or act like they say we should. We are not wrong. When we are wrong, love us with all our flaws, no matter what choices and mistakes we have made, no matter where we live, no matter what we look like, no matter what thing has happened to us. Now, this does not mean that you have to become a target for another Black girl's pain or anger or trauma. It doesn't mean you have to silence yourself in the face of Black women. It means you must give your sisters grace and understanding, the benefit of the doubt. So few people give us that. We owe it to each other. We have to acknowledge each other's humanity, even maybe especially when we are walking away. I hope the letters in this book have shown you how to do that, because we are sisters, Black girl. We have to take care of ourselves and each other. You are me. I am you. We are all right. Inside each of us are tiny pieces of our foremothers. Sarah Boone's ingenuity, Danielle Luna's unforgettable beauty, Toni Morrison's incomparable wisdom, Mamie Till's fierce love, Aretha Franklin's creativity, Marsha P. Johnson's fearlessness, Harriet Tubman's will to survive, Katherine Johnson's genius, Michelle Obama's grace. Black girls are made up of all that magic, birthed in the African sun, baptized by the Middle Passage, and burnished by America. That is a power that no one else can claim, just us. We are sisters. You are me. I am you. And we will get free together. Zora Neale Hurston, a great Black woman writer, once said, "I do not weep at the world. I am too busy sharpening my oyster knife." An oyster knife is a utensil used to crack open the shell of an oyster to get the tasty meat inside. Zora meant that she wasn't wasting time thinking about the hard parts of being Black and a woman, and she didn't care what other people said about her. She was busy trying to get at all the good stuff life had to offer. Celebrate your Black girl life. celebrate us. Be like Zora, get that oyster girl.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Tamara.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for your contribution to the book.
Oh, no problem. Anytime, anytime. I'm so glad to have finally met you. We've communicated and we have these mutual friends and stuff, but we had never had a real conversation until tonight. So this is history making. This is awesome. I'm so excited, and I know it won't be the last time. So
it will not be.
Of course, I've been scrolling all of your social media, so that's there for anyone who wants to stay in touch with Tamara. Of course, grab a copy of the book from wherever you can get it, preferably a Black-owned store if at all possible. But tell us what's next for you and what we can be on the lookout for in the weeks and months ahead.
What's next for me is I'm finishing up the manuscript for the second expanded edition of The Sisters Are All Right, Changing the Broken Narrative of Black Women in America. It'll be out this fall, and it'll have, new information in it, including a new chapter about Black women in power, where I'll talk about all the stuff that's been happening with Black women in politics and community activism and all of that good stuff.
Okay. Well, I definitely look forward to that, and we will have you back.
Yes.
That you'll be back. Remember that? You'll be back. So thank you once again, and thank you to everyone who joined us this evening. I really appreciate your time. Please share this out. As I said, go ahead and get multiple copies, because it'd be good for you as an adult woman. Adult women. It'd be good for the girls in your life. I just really want as many people to get a hold of these letters as possible, because they're just so powerful. They're just so meaningful, and I consider it a special blessing to have been included as well. So please do that. And with that, I wish everyone a good night. Stay safe out there, and know that I love you. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.